You ever stand behind the line and watch some guys can't miss Wonder 9 cough up a jam in front of everyone? I've seen it more times than I care to admit. That's when it hits you. None of the ads or YouTube hype matter. Reliability isn't on a box, it's what's left when dirt, cold, and bad ammo strip every excuse. This list isn't about what's shiny or trending. It's about the 9mm that survived real-world abuse. Mud, rain, rookie mistakes, months of neglect, rounds that should have never left the factory, guns that don't flinch when everything else folds. And if you think you've got the lineup figured out, I bet you don't, especially number 2, which is what forced me to admit I was wrong. So let's see if your pick made the cut. If you're looking for a 9mm you can trust as 2026 kicks off, sometimes you end up feeding it whatever's left in your bag. One afternoon, I dumped a whole mess of loose ammo, steel case, beat up brass, leftover plus P, even some sketchy reloads a buddy gave me, right on the bench. Didn't bother checking head stamps or brand. Just grabbed handfuls, shoved them in bags, and ran them straight into the Sig P226 Legion. I never even wiped it down. Most guns will start to complain. Stovepipes, failures to feed, maybe a little sluggish once the fouling sets in. I watched 2 of the so-called latest 2026 upgrades choke up before their owners finished a single box. The Legion, it just kept chewing through mag after mag like it was built to embarrass everything else. Didn't matter if the slide was greasy, if the brass was mismatched, or if the rounds were dirty. I never got so much as a hiccup. There was a point I stopped thinking about the ammo. I just loaded and fired, and the Sig never flinched. That's the difference. As 2026 kicks off and everything's hyped, this gun just keeps going. But keep watching. Even I got blindsided by what's still coming up this year. There's a certain kind of gun you forget about until you really need it. My buddy and I are both guilty. Glove box insurance, we call it. Toss the Ruger Security 9 in the compartment, slam it shut, and promised ourselves we'll check it eventually. Months go by. Heat waves, winter freeze, spilled coffee, loose change, and crumbs. We joke about it every time one of us got in the car, but neither of us touched it. Then it's almost New Year's, and we're sitting in the parking lot. 2026 right around the corner. My buddy glances at the glove box and goes, "Thinking that thing would still run?" We both just laughed, but next thing I knew, he's popping the latch, pulling out the Ruger. It's dusty. There's a candy wrapper stuck to the grip, and the mag smells like stale French fries. We walk to the range out back, load up, half expecting a click or a jam. First shot, bang. Then another and another, not a single hiccup. It just worked. No drama, no protest, like it's been pampered its entire life. Here's the thing. In 2026, with all the shiny new stuff, sometimes the gun you forget is the one that never forgets its job. But the next pistol, I put it through something even worse, and I honestly didn't expect it to come out the other side. Most folks clean their guns because they're supposed to. I decided to do the opposite with the Taurus G2C just to see how far a budget pistol could really go. The plan was simple. Use it like any everyday carry, but don't give it a single swipe of oil or a cleaning brush. For months, it rode in pockets, bounced around in the truck, collected dust, sweat, and more pocket lint than I want to admit. Rain sessions came and went, and grime built up in the rails, but not once did I even bother stripping it down. Every time I fired off a few mags, I'd brace myself for a jam or a sluggish slide. That's how it usually goes with cheap guns, or so I thought. But the G2C just kept cycling, filthy as ever, never even stuttered. The more I abused it, the more reliable it seemed to get. No excuses, no special treatment, just relentless shooting and real-world neglect. I never expected to say it, but the G2C turned my skepticism into respect. For a budget gun, it proved itself shockingly reliable. First week of December, and winter rolled in like it owned the place. The range looked miserable, frost on the benches, breath fogging up every word, everyone trying to flex cold fingers in thick gloves. Most of us were just hoping to get through qualification day and get back in the truck, New Year right around the corner. You could hear it in the way folks muttered about their pistols, oil thickening up, slides crawling, everything just a little more stubborn now that 2026 is almost here. Pulled out the P365 XL, honestly figuring I'd get maybe a clean mag or two before the cold jams something up. Micro pistols in this weather, usually a recipe for short tempers and longer cleanups. But drill after drill, mag after mag, the Sig just kept running. Even with numb hands and stiff brass, it cycled like nothing bothered it. Watching two bigger pistols fail on the firing line before I'd burned through my second box, but the XL never flinched. By the end, my fingers were blocks of ice and my nose wouldn't stop running, but the Sig kept punching paper. Makes you wonder, if a little pistol like this can shrug off winter's worst, what else is ready to survive as 2026 kicks off? Some pistols are treated like family. This M&P9 Compact wasn't one of them. It was a department gun, issued, reissued, and never truly owned by any one officer. Every shift meant a new set of hands, different holsters, rougher draws, and zero sentimentality. If you want to test a real-world reliability, forget the collector safe, look at what survives the department rack. Throughout the year, it cycled through day and night shifts, saw mud, sweat, and whatever grime the street could throw at it. Nobody babied it. Cleaning was done on schedule, but that was it. If it chambered and fired, it went back in service. Holster wear deepened, controls got slick, and still, the M&P just kept running. No matter who picked it up, no matter how beat up it looked, the answer was always the same. It worked. That's why when you're staring down another year, especially as 2026 gets going, the guns that stands out aren't the prettiest. They're the ones that just refuse to quit no matter how hard the job. But trust me, the next pistol had to survive a kind of neglect even tougher than department duty. Certain guns look good on paper until you put them through a real one-handed drill at the range. That's when most small pistols start to show their weak spots. Failures to feed, stovepipes, slides that just don't cycle if your grip isn't perfect. For the effing Reflex, I wanted to see if it was just another micro that talks big but quits when things get awkward. So I ran the entire session one-handed, not just strong hand, swapped to my left, then back, then started firing from weird off-balance stances, stretching around barriers, rushing reloads with sweaty palms. I made it as sloppy as possible. Every shot was a test. Will it hang up, short stroke, or nose dive around? Most little pistols will punish you for bad form. The Reflex, on the other hand, didn't care. It chewed through box after box, ejected brass clean. I expected some drama or at least a hiccup, but instead, it ran boringly flawless. For a gun this small, that kind of one-handed reliability is rare. It's the difference between a gun that's comfortable at the bench and a pistol you'd actually trust when things go sideways. There are guns that get babied, and then there's the Glock 48 MOS I kept under the backseat. If you're rolling into 2026, you know life gets messy. Rain one day, dust storms the next, spilled coffee leaking from a busted cup holder. That Glock lived through all of it, buried in old jackets, crusty floor mats, and half a toolkit I forgot I owned. I'd meant to check on it, maybe wipe it down, but life kept getting in the way. Summer heat, winter frost, muddy shoes, and whatever rolled around in the trunk, the gun took it all. It wasn't until a particularly rough afternoon, car finally cleaned out, and I found the Glock caked in dust, a little sticky from a melted granola bar. Figured I owed it a test, half expecting a sluggish slide or a failure to feed, but the thing fired like it just came right out of the box. Every shot cycled clean, every mag dropped free, not a single complaint. As 2026 kicks off, this is the kind of emergency reliability you need. When you forget your gun, it remembers its job. But don't think every slim pistol is up for that abuse. The next one on this list, I almost didn't believe how far I pushed it. Someone once told me, if a gun can survive a class, it can survive anything. So I handed my Shadow 2 carry to a line of advanced shooters. No warnings, no quick safety check, just run it like you stole it. That's what happened next. Rapid fire until their wrists ached, mag swapped mid-string, dirty hands, gloves, sweat. It came back to me hot, spent, and dusted with carbon, then I handed it off again. Usually after an hour of that, I'd expect to see a slight slowdown, maybe a stubborn round in the feed ramp, but this CZ didn't care. I watched as student after student banged out rounds, let it hit slide lock, wrote the trigger to the edge. By the time I finally took it back, the frame was warm, the rails were filthy, and every control was slicked up by pure use, not oil. Here's the part that's hard to believe. The Shadow 2 carry never gave a single protest. In a crowd of abused pistols, it was the boring, reliable one, the gun nobody had to think about, and the one I'd trust again without hesitation. Ask anyone on the range what they think of Israeli pistols, and you'll hear plenty about history, but not much about sweat, sand, or real-world carry. The Masada Slim was never supposed to be a workhorse, at least that's what everyone around me said. I picked it up half out of curiosity, half expecting to give it up after a summer of appendix carry in brutal heat. Day after day, it rode in close, picking up fine grit, sweat, lint, and all the junk that builds up in a real-life waistband. I didn't baby it, didn't strip it down after every trip, just kept sliding it back where it belonged. Every time I looked at the dust and grime, I figured I was pushing my luck. No way a budget Israeli import keeps going after all that, I'd hear. But the Masada Slim just kept cycling. Damp, dirty, and nearly forgotten, it ran every mag without complaint. Even after the heat and all the miles, it felt like a tool built for punishment. Nobody, including me, thought a gun like this could handle the grind. And now, it's the one I trust to survive when conditions get ugly. But wait until you see the next pick. I never expected it to outlast the legend before it. I've had my share of classic pistols, but the CZ75 SP01 is the only one I've ever trusted enough to hand off to a buddy who works the counter at a busy gun shop out near Abilene, Texas. He's one of those YouTubers everyone in the community knows, but I'll just leave names out of it. When winter hit, he took the SP01 through every brutal malfunction drill you could imagine. Thick gloves, overhand slide racks, aggressive tap rack bang, cycling through dirt and cold. Most guns start slipping when the weather gets nasty and your grip is a mess, but the CZ didn't flinch. When he gave it back, it still felt as tight and confident as it did 10 years ago. Not just still running, but still that same brick-solid lockup, same crisp trigger, same predictable feel. That's the thing. This pistol's been proving itself extremely reliable since 2005, and it hasn't slowed down since. With all the rumors about models getting discontinued, I tell anyone, if you want a real SP01, get it before Christmas or next year. Nothing this tough stays on the shelf forever. And just when I thought nothing could top it, the next pistol proved there are still surprises left in the reliability game. I know a police officer down in Texas named Ray Martinez who takes his sidearms as seriously as his badge. One night, Ray invited me over, just us, off the clock in his private garage, talking shop and swapping guns. He tossed out a challenge. How long would the Walther PDP full size last with zero lube? We stripped it down, wiped every drop of oil and grease, then loaded mags and shook hands. No shortcuts, just bone-dry metal and the two of us switching back and forth on the trigger. You'd expect a modern pistol to protest after a few rounds, maybe the slide would drag or the reset would feel sticky. Instead, the PDP just kept cycling. We ran mag after mag. Bare hands, gloves, didn't matter. I was waiting for that telltale sluggishness, but it stayed crisp, almost weirdly smooth. Both of us kept glancing at each other as if expecting a jam to show up out of nowhere. But nope, nothing happened. Next morning, I brought the PDP home, half convinced I'd find wear or scratches, but nothing. Still ran like it left the box. It's rare for a pistol to be this reliable even when you do everything wrong. But the next pick, that one was abused in ways no manual recommends. Back in September, I shoved the HK VP9SK in my old jacket pocket and forgot about it. Meant to do a proper rotation, but life got in the way. First rain, then cold snaps, random errands, and that coat lived in the backseat for months. Didn't think twice, just tossed it over whatever else was in the car. Fast forward a couple of days ago, and I'm digging for keys in the pocket and feel something heavy. There it is, the HK covered in lint, grit, and a sticky old cough drum melted to the frame. You want real life abuse? Try pocket carry and 4 months of neglect. I figured I'd find a corroded spring or at least a sluggish slide, but adrenaline got the better of me. Straight to the range, no cleanup, just pull the trigger cold. The first round snapped off like it had been cared for daily, then another, then a full mag. Every cycle was smooth, not a hiccup. This little pistol proved itself shockingly reliable even after I treated it like an afterthought. As 2026 rolls in, I can't think of many guns that'll forgive you like that. But if you want the biggest surprise on the list, the next pistol changed my mind about what never failed really means. If you told me a year ago that a Canik would end up at the top of my reliability list for 2026, I probably would have laughed it off. But there's something about taking a gamble that makes you honest. I set out to run the Mete Elite SC for a full month with zero maintenance, daily carry, weekly range trips, and not a single brush or a drop of oil. This wasn't gentle use either. Hot afternoons, freezing mornings, hours riding in a backpack, sweat, dust, the works. Every week I loaded it up, expecting a hitch or at least a sluggish slide, but not once did it protest. Full mags, rapid fire, slow aim. In every session, it just ate everything I fed it, and never once did it hung up or give me an excuse. By the end of the month, it was filthy, but still cycled like I just cleaned it. I'd gone in skeptical, but walked away convinced. Reliable isn't just a label for this one, it's earned. And in a year when a lot of big-name pistols have stumbled, the Mete Elite SC didn't just keep up, it set the pace. But stick around for the bonus picks. There are a couple of pistols that pulled off reliability tricks even I didn't see coming. I was out at a buddy's place, plenty of safe land, just dirt and a natural backdrop. Curiosity got the better of me, so I brought the Hellcat Pro and loaded up every mag I could find. No careless drills or slow fire. Just wanted to see how it had handled real chaos. Mag after mag, I dumped them fast. Brass flying, hands slick with sweat. Most little pistols start to choke or get mushy when the frame heats up like that, but not this one. By the end, the slide was almost too hot to touch and I'd burned through a mountain of ammo. Still, the trigger stayed crisp and every round cycled clean. The Hellcat Pro never stuttered, never even hinted at a problem, no matter how fast I ran it. Honestly, that's the kind of reliability you want when life gets wild. But the next bonus gun, it survived even crazier conditions. The Sig P365 XL macro spent a couple of weeks as my daily carry. Not cleaned, not babied, just shoved into a waistband, jacket, or pocket as life got busy. I'd grab it and go, sometimes forgetting it was even there. By the end, it was gritty with lint, sweat, and pocket junk, definitely not Instagram ready. Most pistols would start to feel gummed up or sluggish when you treat them like that. I figured I'd see a weak trigger or even a stubborn slide, maybe a misfeed or two. But wouldn't you know it, when I finally ran it, the X macro didn't give a hoot. Every round cycled, trigger stayed sharp, and it fired like it was brand new. The filth didn't even slow it down for a second. Now that is real concealed carry reliability, the kind you can trust when you forget about maintenance, because real life doesn't come with range rules. And that's how you know a pistol never failed you, even when you almost failed it. The funny thing about reliability, it's not flashy. Nobody claps when a pistol just works every single time, but you notice the opposite real quick. I keep thinking about all those shooters who learned the hard way. Maybe it was me, maybe it was you. We all regret the gun that failed when it mattered, or the one we let go of when we were chasing something shinier. Every pistol on this list earned its keep the hard way, not because they looked the part, but because they never gave me a reason to doubt them. So tell me, what's the one 9mm that never let you down? Drop your story in the comments down below. Maybe your lesson saves someone else from the pain. Don't trust the hype, trust what works. I'm Steve, so stay sharp, stay stubborn, and I'll see you in the next one.